Welcome to 1 Million Cups in Tulsa. We are 1 Million Cups is part of a national movement in 34 cities over 4 time zones. So, and we're actually got one guy that's excited about it. That's,
no, you're not.
I'm Brad. I'm one of the co-organizers here, and I've also got Tim Vickers back here. Everybody wave to Tim, and then Barrett, and then Dustin is also a co-organizer, but he's on something called a vacation.
What is that?
Does anybody know what a... Yeah, anyway, so he said he wouldn't be here, he's on vacation. But what 1 Million Cups is about is basically, we're here to educate the community on local startups. We're here to help accelerate their business, and then also just help equip them in getting engaged in the community. So we've got the setup. If this is your first time here, we'll normally have 2 companies present, and they'll have about 6 minutes to present. And after the 6 minutes, we'll have 20 minutes of questions and answers. So we've got 2 awesome companies presenting this morning. We're excited to be here. I'm excited to have you. And I'm going to introduce DJ Patterson, who is the president and founder of EcoGreen Mobile Detailing. So if you guys could give him a hand as he comes.
My name is DJ Patterson. I'm the founder of EcoGreen Mobile Detailing. We're the only waterless and eco-friendly detailing company in the state of Oklahoma. We specialize in interior and exterior detailing, utilizing plant-based cleaners and a waterless car wash system. I started my career out in 2005 working at a full-service scratch wash and detail shop. And I say scratch wash because when you drive your vehicle through those car washes, all the dirt, debris, grime, salt, sand that comes off on the vehicles before you go onto your car, and it scratches your vehicle up. So, little fact for you. During my time at the car wash, I had a mentor who taught me all the operations of the company, all the operations. And little did I know he was setting me up to take his position and when he resigned from the company. And at 18 years old, I became the general manager of the car wash. And one thing I found during my career managing this car wash was that there was a constant need for mobility. People got busier and busier, and their schedules didn't allow them to drop their vehicle off conveniently. So every entrepreneur knows when there's a problem, that's an opportunity for you to create a business, and I did just that by creating EcoGreen Mobile Detailing. At the time, I had a 1999 Ford Contour that I worked up the trunk of. This is the original EcoGreen Mobile Detailing. You laugh, it was a very depressing time. I didn't have a lot of business, didn't have a lot of money. I went from making a good salary to having 10 plus employees to just me and my car. So I knew I had to do something to grow the company. So what I did is I packed my bags and went to Los Angeles, California, where they had a detailing school, and I obtained several certifications on automotive detailing there. And fast forward 4 years from then and today, now we're detailing $20 million Gulfstreams, all kinds of jets, ambulances, multi-million-dollar assets, and so forth, high-end vehicles. But we don't discriminate. We do daily driver cars too. But we do like the fun stuff. So pretty much, I didn't want to start DJ's Mobile Detailing out of the back of the trunk. I mean, it would have went somewhere eventually and made a little bit of money, but I wanted to be unique. That's why I started EcoGreen, where we specialize in environmentally friendly detailing, utilizing eco-friendly products and a waterless car wash system, which I'll get into. So the waterless car wash works like this. We spray the liquid formula onto the vehicle and it encapsulates the dirt particles so we can safely remove all the dirt and grime from the vehicle. And this process saves an average of 100 gallons of water per car we clean. Now, according to carwash.com, the average detailer can generate between 1 million and 10 million gallons of contaminated water into our rivers and seas each year. So needless to say, we're not your average detailer. We save tons of water and we prevent pollution into our environment by doing this process. Yeah, we are mobile though, so just imagine this, put this in your head for a second. So, say you're at home, watching TV in your pajamas, and just imagine you're getting your car professional detailed outside, or you busy people, you seem like a busy group of people, you're downtown in a business meeting or a conference meeting, and you're able to get your car detailed out in the parking garage for you. So we're very, very convenient in that aspect. So and we don't just stop there. We're not just a unique company that specializes in eco-friendly detailing. What we do is we're passionately trying to start a movement in our industry. Because eco-friendly detailing or waterless car washing alone is kind of frowned upon in the industry. People don't really accept it widely. So we're really trying to spread education about the benefits of waterless car washing, and that's one of the goals that we have here. So I believe through people like you believing in what we're doing here, I believe that we can really start a revolution in our industry as a whole. So, and then our vision, one of the biggest things we want to do in our company is to give back. So just to give you some numbers for a second. So say we clean 5 cars a day, 5 days a week for an entire year. We'd save about 120,000 gallons of water per year. Now imagine if every detailing company utilized this process, how much water we can save, or not even that, just how much pollution we can prevent going into our environment. So I think we could really do something here. And one of the things we want to do is give back. I know there are children all over the world who have to walk miles and miles to get drinking water for their families, and this water is infected with disease and bacteria and so forth. So what we want to do is give back, make available fresh drinking water for these water-stricken communities. And to be completely honest, we don't know how to make this a reality just yet, but we know there's a problem. We want to see the problem. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A right now.
Okay. All right, terrific, DJ. So now's the time when we, as a community, hi everyone over here, I'm Darren Ryan. Now's the time when we get to engage with DJ and talk about what he's doing and ask questions to try to further the growth of EcoGreen. So if you have a question, raise your hand. Tim or I will get to you with the microphone. We'll keep an idea of who's in line, and we will follow that order. So Brad, back in the back.
Where does the dirt
Go ahead.
What's that?
Where does the dirt go if you don't wash it off? Where's the dirt go?
Like I said, we use a microscopic cloth in the product right here, and all the dirt goes onto the towel. So it encapsulates when we spray the product onto the car. It encapsulates the dirt particles, so we're able to remove it safely with the microscopic cloth. So it all goes onto the cloth.
Then you wash the cloths?
Yes.
All right, further questions?
The solution you use, is it patented or proprietary in any way?
It is not. There's ways we can get a product and say it's our own, but we don't really want to waste our time doing that. We have a company we use, it's ecotouch.net, and they have a full line of products. We use everything from our all-purpose cleaner, our glass cleaner, tire shine, window cleaner, everything is all plant-based. So it's a company that we use.
Have you considered offering your products to take-home customers who then do it themselves, or is that not within your wheelhouse?
We do. We don't really push that just yet online or anything, but we do get a lot of requests for people buying that product. So we do sell a little bit kind of on the side, if you will.
Next question's right.
Sure. Can you just speak to the scale of your business? When you talk about getting into a lot of different niches, not just cars, that's interesting to me. Can you speak to what you've done and how you're marketing currently?
Can you rephrase that? Just
Sure. What's the scale of your business currently? And then how are you currently marketing? How do people find you?
That's a good question. We do a lot of word of mouth. I've been in the industry since 2005, so about 10 years almost. So I've got a big following of clientele. So a lot of our business is word of mouth. We do a lot on social media too. If you're on Facebook, you can follow us on there. We do a little bit on Instagram and Twitter as well, but a lot of it's just word of mouth to grow the business. We don't really like to invest a lot of money into big marketing campaigns or so forth, so a lot of it's word of mouth has got us where we're at today.
Do you only do exterior or interior as well?
No, we do interior detailing as well. We do carpet cleaning, leather conditioning, the whole 9 yards. So we do interior detailing.
And all of that's eco-friendly?
Everything's eco-friendly, yes. Yes, sir.
Hold on, could you back to that, everybody, including the online audience?
Yeah. With the big push for going green right now, and more companies trying to go green, what is it that you're doing in your business model to stay, to keep your competitive advantage in the industry and in your niche?
Well, like I said, no one in Oklahoma is doing this yet, so I think that alone is definitely a big thing. Like I said, all the products and stuff we use, they're all plant-based. No one in Oklahoma is doing that here. So, does that answer your question? Kind of.
What is your plan to grow your company?
Well, hopefully people like you believe in what we're doing here, and you guys share our story to other people and spread the word. And we can grow through that. I think the voice can be very viral, and you guys can really help grow our company. So,
You got away from the microphone, Jeff. Have you tried marketing to car dealerships or any other type of vehicle owners? I was just curious if you had any data to say, hey, if you use this product, you'll save X dollars on your water usage, because we're also washing our cars probably multiple times a week due to
are there any car dealers in here? I hate working with car dealerships. They're really cheap and they don't want to spend a lot of money, so when they call, I pretty much nicely tell them no thank you.
So to follow up on that, is if you had to pick one niche to focus on to grow your business, which niche would it be? The commercial, the large planes and boats, or retail car?
I'm a car junkie, and my team, we love detailing vehicles, so it's really hard to say. Honestly, where the money's at is fleet. We detail a fleet, our ambulance fleet here in Tulsa, and so we do that fleet, and that's what really brings in the money is those big fleet accounts. We're at one location all day. We've got 2 or 3 guys with us, and we're really knocking out 5 to 10 cars in a day. That's where the money's at. But the fun things are detailing cars like the Maseratis, Ferraris, Escalades, and stuff too. And like I said, we don't discriminate. We do daily drivers as well. So.
DJ, I would think that one thing that you would have to overcome is if he's going to be as good as somebody who wasn't at with 10 gallons of water, because you get brownie points for somebody being. But for me, as a testament, I've had my car done by them, which was, you probably couldn't even see the paint, it was so dirty. And it does come off, I mean, it's absolutely amazing inside and out. Have you thought about franchising? Is that anything that is in the works?
Yeah, we definitely want to franchise. Right now, we're at year 4, and we're really still trying to build the foundation. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet because I want to make sure everything is in order before I branch out and start franchising. One place we want to go first is Oklahoma City because it's close, not too far where it's not hard to get to, but it's not too close either. So I think it's a whole other market out there. So we do definitely want to franchise. And if anyone has any advice on how to go about doing that, a cost-effective way, I know it's kind of expensive. I would definitely be open to any suggestions. So.
I have 2 questions. First is, how many are you doing a day, and what's your maximum capacity?
What do you say, Al? We do, I mean, it just depends on the detail, because we do really extensive detailing, like we'll do a deluxe package, which takes about 4 hours, so we can only get 2 of those in a day, or we're doing a lot of maintenance details. We have membership roasters back there. We do weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly cleanings. Those cleanings only take about an hour a piece, so we can do about 5 to 8 of those in a day. And we have 2 trucks, so we have room for definitely have room for growth.
And then how can we find out about you?
Yeah, okay, you can check us out. Like I said, we have a website, EcoGreen Tulsa, EcoGreenTulsa.com, and then we're on Facebook. It's our most active social media platform. And you can just Google EcoGreen and you'll find us.
You're right.
So, what's the pricing structure? I'm assuming it's a premium service. You're talking about an hour per car. And do you offer like a subscription type service?
Yeah, like I just told you, we have memberships where we do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly memberships, and so our pricing. Sorry, I wait for a second. We start at $99 for an express detail, and what that includes is a hand wash, a wax, all the wheels, tires, and fender wheels are cleaned. On the interior, do a thorough vacuum, steam all the mats, and then clean all your doors, dash, console, cup holders, windows, and everything. So very good cleaning, starting at $99, and that's for super sedan.
I have a question. I have a question. How does your pricing and the quality of your finished, of your service compare to your competition, which is obviously not EcoGreen, but the conventional, like Mr. Clean style detailing?
Well, we're going to get a lot more than Mr. Clean, I believe, just because they're a fixed location. But as far as mobile I think we're pretty competitively priced last time I checked. You're just honestly getting a better quality of service through us, and also you have a peace of mind knowing that we're using safe products for you. If you guys have kids or anything, using toxic cleaners in your car is probably not something that you want. I've got a 3-month-old, and we hate to use toxic cleaners for that. So just a peace of mind of knowing that we're using safe products and we're saving water. We actually have a vision. Go ask them what their vision and what their long-term goal is, and I guarantee you'll match up with what we're doing.
Considering how positive and popular Going Green is right now, have you thought of creating window stickers for your customers that you can hand out with those cleanings that they can tack onto their car and then do further advertising for you?
I ran that idea across me, but a lot of most of the vehicles we do, they're kind of on the higher end side, so I doubt those kind of people would want those stickers on their cars. I would love to do that, so I'll make some just for you, Alex.
I'll put it on my car.
Thank you.
Is one of your customers here?
Oh, not yet. Hopefully one day.
what keeps you up at night? You're cleaning nice cars. Is it that you haven't got to clean a certain type of car yet? But what is it that keeps you up at night?
My 3-month-old.
That's great.
Yeah, Jeff.
I guess a couple questions. One is, what does success look like for you? At what point do you say we've been incredibly successful in our business? And second is, what skill set or think you're missing internally to get there?
I believe we're successful now because from where I started, originally I was nothing where I am today. So I define success as just honestly where I'm at today. I mean, I'd love to get further and make a lot more money, but I think I'm successful now. One thing I'm lacking, I'm sure my wife can tell you, I'm not sure what I am lacking. What's that? I think she really wants the microphone. So, this is my wife, Aisha. She is the boss, honestly.
I think going forward, we really just want to give back. We want to, do our part in the world, and so I know that would really define success for me. I don't know if anybody has any advice on how we could go forward with doing that, but that we really appreciate that a lot.
Let's get.
I was just going to say there's an organization in Oklahoma City called Water for You, and they've got a real economic way of getting funds out to other countries. You might want to talk to them because nobody's
I also drew wells in sub-Saharan Africa, so you can talk to me.
I think one thing we're going to do as far as our vision and the giving aspect, I think we want to actually be actively involved in it. So working with the company would be good, but I don't just want to hand out money to them and say, hey, look, we're doing good. We want to actively actually send our team out there and go do those things. So.
This isn't a question, it's advice. One company or startup that's been successful doing that based in Norman is Mariposa Coffee Roastery. They kind of combine their mission the same way you guys have, providing good coffee, but also they've actually gone to Africa and installed wells and they've worked with Water for Oklahoma City. So they may be their husband and wife team as well, and they may be a good place to start to see how they've integrated that into their business.
Thank you.
Question in the back.
Actually, just a suggestion on the giving back. Have you considered working with a school, doing the eco-friendly cleaning for them, but also providing, allowing the kids to come and help with that, teaching them a job skill, so that you mentioned being a general manager at the age of 18. It's a profitable skill that they may be able to get into a business, and you're working with, maybe not a well-off school, allowing to help them clean some of the vehicles they use, a church, something else like that.
Yeah, we were actually working on that for a while. With me, I kind of get all over the place sometimes, so trying to stay on track sometimes is definitely a flaw that I have every now and then. So that's definitely something that we wanted to do.
Yeah. Also, just even fundraising, because you always see in the summertime like kids with the sign that says car wash, going to Africa or whatever. So that'd be something great for us to do, be able to supply the products for them to have do a car wash that way. It also raises awareness in the community.
Okay, I have a two-part one here. What are some of the short-term goals the next 6 to 9 months for you guys? And then talk about your experience with staffing and how you grow the team, how many people are on your team. What's turnover like? What's that sort of like? Because that's an issue a lot of people encounter as they try to scale.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest issues, honestly, is turnover. It's just hard to find really good help. I've got a great team right here. They're both sitting in the front. But it's hard to find just people that want to work and are going to stay consistent, because we'll get to the point we have both trucks at full capacity as far as employee-wise, and we'll book out weeks in advance, and then we'll have someone quit on us in 3 months, maybe even 10 days, and we're kind of screwed, honestly, of how to get the work done, because we're more of a low-volume, high-quality detailing company, so we like to take our time on the job. So we don't like to rush and get things done. So definitely staffing has been probably our biggest problem, and why we haven't grown as far as we could right now. Just not have that consistent manpower. But in the industry, like I said, I worked at a full-service car wash and retail shop. Turnover rate is just high in this industry, period. And especially when you have this pay grade as well, it's really hard. So that would be if I can get any advice today, is just how to do that. keep employees.
Speaking of pay grade and your employee turnover, what is the difference in turnover when you talk about hourly pay for your employees compared to salary? And would it be something you would consider going to salary to try and keep them for longer?
With salary, you're kind of at a cap. I pay a certain way. I pay two ways. I pay hourly for our helpers, and then we pay commission too. With commission, you're able to pretty much make your own money. You book out $300-400 jobs, and you take a piece of that pie plus your tips. So we do commission based and also hourly based. With salary, one problem that I've seen in the past, and I've had other businesses as well, is that you're getting paid every week, so your motivation to get up and do something in the morning, even when we don't have jobs, is kind of declines. So I like to keep them on their toes.
Okay, we have time for maybe one or two more questions. Well, how about we ask this, and then if anybody else has another question, we can get to that afterward. What can we, the community, do to help you in the future develop as a business?
I guess start by just looking at the auto detailing and car washing industry in a different light now. Just knowing the amount of water that's wasted, and just knowing what you know now. Just kind of look at it in a different light. Knowing that you can save tons of water, you can prevent contamination by using detailers like us that are actually environmentally conscious, and more so just share our story. If you're intrigued with what we've had to say today, you can just share your story on your social media platforms. That's definitely one of the biggest things going to help us is getting the word out there so that we can grow and have more of an awareness of that.
Okay, Tim,
Can you just tell us real quickly how to stay connected with you?
Yeah, if you guys can pull your phones, go on Facebook and like us on there, you can stay connected. We're pretty active on there.
What do we search to find you on Facebook?
EcoGreen Mobile Detailing.
And there's no space in between the Eco and Green, and we've got cards and flyers in the back.
Yes. All the cards, brochures, and everything are back there. So if you guys, before you leave, just take one of those. And my email address is on my card too. So if you guys have any advice or want to drop a note, that'd be great. I love feedback, especially negative feedback, because I want to do better.
All right, well, let's give it up for DJ Patterson, EcoGreen.
All right, we had a few visitors and guests coming halfway through. Nice to see you guys. There's people apparently all the way in town from Nepal and Bangladesh, is that right? Yep. All right, thank you for being here this morning, guys. All right, I don't have the announcements memorized, so I'm going to look at my phone real quickly. Apparently, if you have a lot of money and you don't know where to put it, there's a startup in town that will take all the money you have. That's one of our announcements. So you can see me and I'll direct you wherever you should go. Actually, Sayah has a fundable campaign. We're going to send out a link they presented a few weeks ago. So if you do want to help out there, you can. Also, if you're not on our newsletter yet, wow, I'm just jumping everywhere. You can send us an email, tulsa@1millioncups.com, and then we'll throw you on the newsletter if you don't have enough things to read in your inbox already. The Mine, we've got a fellowship final presentation, which is Thursday, May 22nd. And Ryan and Mike, who are big supporters of our community, they're over there. They're going to be presenting. I welcome you guys come. Baron and I attend the Mine presentations, and they're very interesting, very engaging. If you're trying to just learn how to think like an entrepreneur, that also a social enterprise, this is a great open event to come to. Time and location. Time and location, anyone?
4 to 6 p.m. at Tulsa Schusterman Learning.
Tulsa Schusterman Learning.
What date?
May 22nd.
May 22nd.
Oh, it sounds good.
Yeah. Who did these slides? All right, next slide. Happy birthday to Dustin Curzon tomorrow. Last week's 1 Million Cups was sponsored by Gap, for those of you that weren't here. And I don't know where the thing went, but if you use the hashtag DC in DC, like Washington, DC, or Dustin Curzon, he's actually in DC right now. We've been trying to guess what his wardrobe is today. So if you guys could give him a little birthday love and use hashtag DC in DC, I think that would be amazing. It'd be a little inside joke from us to you. All right. For those of you that missed it, 1 Million Cups, we meet here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. We have 2 startups present for 6 minutes, and then we have 20 minutes of question and answer. And this is a national movement. It's all over the nation. We're in 34 cities. Tulsa is one of the most vibrant, and we sort of get a pat on the back every week for our great community, not only how well dressed we are, but how attractive we are. All right, we're going to get the presentation rolling here, but I'd like to introduce you, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Clay Clark. He's the CEO and founder of Thrive15, which launched last week. He's going to be presenting today. He was named the SBA Entrepreneur of the Year in the state of Oklahoma. Pretty cool. So he's sort of entrepreneur celebrity status. He's got several successful companies here in Tulsa like DJ Connection, Elephant in the Room. So if you would give it up for Clay Clark, he's going to present Thrive15 this morning.
All right, I'm going to use this massive podium to put my massive wallet right here. So here we go. First off, there's a self-evaluation form on everybody's desk, or everybody's chair. And if you could just take a second and fill that out. Thrive15 is created to provide mentorship from millionaires to everybody. That's the idea behind it. So there's 3 questions on there, and if you can kind of rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, we're going to give away some books, and then we're also going to pay you guys for your feedback on some stuff. So to rate yourself, there's 3 core focus areas there. So if you could rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, as far as an entrepreneur, you feel like you're a wizard, and you should probably be taking the mic from me at any point, that's great. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if you could rate yourself overall as an entrepreneur, that would be great. I just want to know how you would rate yourself. The second area is marketing. On a scale of 1 to 10, if marketing is like that is something you are awesome at, you are a marketing wizard, again, you can take the mic from me and lead your own marketing seminar, that'd be great. And the final is the stuff we don't like to talk about usually, unless you're my main man over here, would be accounting. On a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 is, man, I am a performa wizard, I can make an accounting like a boss, I know my break-even point, I know how many customers it takes me to turn a profit every month, I know my P&L. If you could rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on those 3 areas, and then if you can go ahead and put your name, your phone number, your email, I promise you I will not spam you and send you various things because I hate email. And so I'm going to send you 1 email with a recap of what we talked about today, and then I won't harass you therefore after. Okay? So what we're doing today is we're building this website called Thrive15. And how many entrepreneurs do we have here? How many people own their own business? Okay. How many people are kind of like you want to own your own business? You're on that verge. You're on that weird area where your boss thinks you're at work right now, but you're maybe here. Okay. Well, here's the thing. What I found was when I was named Entrepreneur of the Year in 2007 for a company I started called DJ Connection. In full disclosure, the guy in the green shirt now owns DJ Connection. That's his business now. There he is in my face. So he owns DJ Connection now. But a lot of people would call and say, hey, could you help me grow my business? The first company to call was called ZFG Mortgage. Helped them grow their business. We basically doubled their revenues. And then another company called, and I worked with them. Well, I found out that this mortgage company hated the other mortgage company. I don't know if you guys can relate, but like if you're my competition, I don't like you. You know, it's like the Knicks versus like, I don't know, maybe more like the Yankees versus the Red Sox, you know, that kind of head-to-head thing. So I found out the 2 mortgage companies didn't like each other. So I signed a non-compete and I worked with one, and then an insurance company called Farmers Insurance called. You know those commercials, We Are Farmers? You've probably seen those commercials on TV. We are farmers. Okay, those guys called and said, hey, could you help me work with our agents? So I worked with their agents. Their agents had a lot of success, and then I got a call from New York Life. Well, I didn't know this, but New York Life is not liked by farmers. Weird deal, right? They're competing for the same dollars. So I signed a non-compete with farmers, and this kept happening, and so I found myself in 2010 with 15 clients that I had non-competes with, and I couldn't really help anybody grow their business beyond those 15. And then also, if you ever try to get a hold of me, it's impossible because I don't return voicemails or text messages or emails. So what I do is I just work with those same 15 people every week at the same time. We have the same meeting at the same time every week, and their businesses grow. And it's not magic. We just teach best practices, and it happens. But the problem is I can only help 15 people. And I grew up extremely poor, and so my heart was to help people who grew up the same way I grew up. And so I got together with Sean Copeland. Does anybody here know Sean Copeland? Sean Copeland or Dr. Zellner, some of these guys? And Sean Copeland started a bank when he's 34. You know, I'm the Entrepreneur of the Year for the state of Oklahoma, but I didn't start a bank. I mean, starting a bank in my mind is sort of a big deal. Maybe you're not impressed, but starting a bank to me is sort of a big deal. We connected with David Robinson. He was the NBA Hall of Famer, and he started a venture capital fund, and he's actually made more money off the court than on the court, which most NBA players, according to Sports Illustrated, go bankrupt within their first 5 years, right? So he's worth about $300 million now, where he only made 100 something as an athlete. So teamed up with these people, and we thought, well, what if we could teach entrepreneurship to millions of people? What if we could mentor millions? What if we could come up with a way where for less money than you spend on crap you don't need at your typical bookstore at your college? So as an example, I went to Oral Roberts University. Who here went to a four-year college? Okay, I went to ORU. It was like $15,000 a semester. I head up their alumni marketing department now, and I understand it's $30,000 a semester, which I believe to be a bad value. Okay, so it's $30,000 a year, and so the thought was, well, what if we could make something available for $50 a month that could teach you more in a week than you learn there in a year? That was the idea. Like, what if we could teach you more in a week than you learned at ORU in a year, and it would cost you less money than you spend on a typical book that you don't actually read? Who here actually bought a book in college? You remember buying a book in college that you didn't actually read? Who did that? Cool. Who here took a class in college called maybe humanities or social science or something that you've never used? Okay, so what happens is a lot of times I'm in a business setting and somebody will say, hey, do you know about papyrus? And I'll say, yeah, I do. I had a whole semester devoted to papyrus and the Byzantine Empire and cuneiform and then, you know, and that's the big closer. No, actually it's not. I've never had a client that ever cares about those things. And so those prerequisites are all just pre-crap. They're all stuff I don't need to learn that don't help me grow a business. And so what we decided to do on Thrive was to teach you only what you need to know. And then we decided to make it where the people teaching you were only successful people. So you can't actually be a teacher on Thrive unless you have like $1 million in the bank and unless you're actually a successful entrepreneur. That's the whole idea. It's like I don't necessarily want to hear your theories on hiring if you haven't actually hired people, you know? So I want to hear your theories on hiring if you've actually done it and done it well. And so the whole idea is like I'm not an expert in every subject, but when you go on to Thrive, if you study accounting, the guy teaching it grew a company from 2 people to 450 people and sold it for $150 million, and he built the performance for it. So in my mind, like he knows how to do a P&L. Or when it comes to hiring, I know DJ had mentioned, how do you hire people? Well, it's really good when you watch on Thrive, the person talking about hiring will mention, he'll say, well, do you know that Gallup has done research? The Gallup poll has shown that only 13% of America's employees actually admit to trying on the job. 13%. You check that out. 13%. Check it out. It's awesome. Gallup, 13%. Just Google that mess. I can't make this stuff up. 13% of employees actually say they try at work. So in your case, DJ, I would say fire 87 out of 100 people you hire. And so, but that's not my theory. That's coming from a guy who has a very successful optometry business in Tulsa and an auto auction and a sleep center and a, you know what I'm saying? So that's the whole idea behind Thrive. It's 15 minutes and it's entertaining education. I found that a lot of my classes were super boring, but I had a few professors who were awesome. So Thrive is entertaining education for entrepreneurs, and it's taught by millionaires and everyday success stories. And so that's the deal, and I'm America's most pale man, and I'm open for questions.
So to recap, in case you came in a little bit late last time, we get to interact with Clay now, asking questions about how his business works and about how we might help him make it better. So if you have a question, raise your hand, get my attention or the attention of Tim in the back. Oh, Tim, we have a question right in front of you. Shana.
Can you talk about the actual structure of payment? What is it? Is it membership based? Is it per class? What is
super awesome. What we're doing is it's $50 a month per human, and for anybody who logs on right now, there's going to be I'm gonna guess probably 2,000 errors on the website right now. And so Reid Hoffman, the guy who launched LinkedIn, says if you're not embarrassed by the first launch, then you probably didn't launch soon enough. You know. So what we're doing is we're launching it, and then every time you find an issue, if you'll send it to us, just email us at info@thrive15.com. I'll give you $2. So like one guy found 100 and something errors this week, which is awesome. So we'll send you a check for $200. Or if you get crazy and you pull an all-nighter and you find 1,000 errors, I'll send you $2,000. But the whole idea is we want to make it entertaining for entrepreneurs. So we want it to make it feel like what you want it to be. So the actual structure is $50 a month, and it also includes access to our Thrive conferences. And you know, has anybody ever been to a conference where you went to the conference and in the back of the room they're trying to upsell you a bunch of stuff you don't want at a huge price, and they make you feel guilty or stupid if you don't buy it? I can't stand that thing, you know, where you go to the conference and they're like, and then for today, a limited time offer, for $600 you can buy this special this. Oh, and there's more, and that whole thing. So we wanted to make it where Thrive, you have these community events you can come to every 6 months where you can meet people like you who've decided to thrive. And so as part of your subscription, you get a discounted ticket to come to these events. And the first one will be held in Disney World. and they'll be hosted by Lee Cockrell, who's the guy who used to run and manage Walt Disney World. And so he's the one who built all of the hiring systems that Disney World uses today. And so we thought it would be sort of apropos if the guy who managed Disney World would actually run the actual first workshop. And so it'll be in Disney World. We're going to book the date here in the next about 3 weeks. And that's $50 a month. That's the total cost. There's no other upsell. And if you want to get tickets for your staff, like at a discounted rate, you can pay $75 a month. But there's no other charge there. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Next question.
So, is this on? It might be. Okay, soon enough. Real quick question on the structure board. I imagine it's not actual instructor-led. These are all pre-recorded sessions that you're just watching. Is that correct?
What we do is entrepreneurs every week submit us questions. Like we had one guy the other day, just today, and again, I'm sorry I'm a terrible human. I have 5 kids, just a disclaimer. I have 5 kids, so I'm always like this morning, one of the bathrooms was filled with poop, and I'm always stepping on a shoe and figuring out why they left the toys out. And so I have different businesses too, and so I don't get to respond to as many emails as I want. But a sweet lady named Keeley today said, I just met with an investment banker this morning, this was yesterday, and he didn't, he kind of laughed at my presentation, could you help me make a business plan? So like we actually will make an episode for her, and every week there'll be 15 to 30 new ones based upon the questions that Thrivers have. And then as we continue to scale, we'll be adding hundreds every week. Does that make sense? So like it'll continue being answers, and they're all sorted, so you could search like how to make a business plan, and then boom, and then there's a training for you broken up into 15-minute chunks. So in particular with Keeley, we're going to make a really in-depth brass tacks. But I guess that she met with the banker, and there was a series of questions that she had never heard. She didn't even know the answers to, but didn't know she even needed to prepare for them. But she has a degree, and so she was sort of frustrated by the whole process. So that's kind of how it works.
Okay, I want to ask a question just specifically on a how-to. Okay, because a lot of people here, they have companies they're trying to get in front of people.
Yeah.
Can you just walk us through quickly, how do you reach out to a world-class training from a millionaire like Lee or David Robinson? Just talk us through the high-level relationship it takes.
Yeah, well, okay, you got 3 steps here. One, there's a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, which is just awesome. I didn't write it either. I don't make any commission to push it. It's just crazy, right? Chet Holmes, Ultimate Sales Machine. There's a thing called the Dream 100. So step 1 is you want to make a Dream 100. For Thrive, we made a list of 400. So I made a list of 400. I didn't. Matt McKenna, who's Dan McKenna's brother, helped me, but we made a list of 400 venture capital people that we thought would be great people to invest in Thrive. So that's step 1, okay? And then 2, you want to make sure when they find you that their first impression is awesome. So like your business plan, your profile pics, everything that represents you is world class. And then the 3rd, and this is the final step that no one likes, is you call them all until they cry, buy, or die. So I'm not kidding. We probably made 4,000 calls to those people. Maybe 4,000 calls for Farmers Insurance. The top agent in Oklahoma has a 0.08, so it's 0.8% success rate, but he makes over $1 million a year. So he has over 400 or 500 outbound calls going every single day. So you need to fail faster. So if you want to get venture capital or get in front of the right people, I would love to tell you that Dr. Zellner answered his phone on the first call. That did not happen. I'd like to tell you that Sean Copeland was like, oh, Clay Clark, this is awesome. God's gift to humanity. He's going to call me. Great. No. People don't want you to call them because they're busy, right? So you have to find a way to get into their world. And the Ultimate Sales Machine lays it out there. But I had to call Sean, hundreds of times over a period of years to build that relationship. So I would just say is fail faster, make a list of your Dream 100. 2, make sure you have a great first impression. And then 3, call them all until they cry, buy, or die. Cry meaning they say, would you stop calling me? 2, buy meaning they actually do something with you. And then 3, die meaning they move across the country, or they physically are dead, in which case I would stop calling them.
All right, we got a question over here.
Do you have anything that's geared toward nonprofits?
Yes. One of the things that's really neat is on Thrive, one of our mentors, his name is Clifton Tolbert. Does anybody know Clifton Tolbert? Anybody know Clifton? He's a higher care. Every time I'm around these people, I feel guilty because they're awesome people and I'm sort of a man-bear pig. But Clifton grew up in the South where he, in a time of segregation, he's just older than Yoda, but he looks young. We're not really sure how old he is. He won't tell me. But Clifton grew up in a time where black people could not go into a bank within Glen Allen, Mississippi. And so his heart is to always give back. And so he actually got to a point in his career where he owned a bank. And the whole idea was, hey, I couldn't own a bank, and now I couldn't go in a bank, and now I own a bank. And now his idea is to give back. And so there's a lot of stuff on Thrive specifically for nonprofits, and a lot of stuff's being added. So Dan McKenna, Dan, if you can put your hand up there. Dan is the production czar for us, and so Dan is producing hundreds of videos with his team, and these guys are working around the clock. I think a lot of these guys are working 80 to 100-hour weeks. I mean, just grinding it out, producing content, because there's so much stuff, but there is stuff specifically for nonprofits, and there'll be a lot more added every week. So every week there's a buffet of new stuff.
Especially with this audience, I've actually gone to your website and done some research on it.
Yeah.
The point system that you have and the give back and how people can actually...
Okay, here's something that I went to college when I was 17 because I graduated from high school earlier, and I know I shouldn't talk politics, but I'm going to for a second. I thought that like the military was evil, you know, like how dare they have guns and such. And so, but then when I started the business, I realized I got a chance to travel. So I went to Belize, I went to Honduras, I did a speaking event in Trinidad, and I realized that no matter how hard you work in Belize, you're probably screwed. You know, like no matter how hard you work in Pakistan, you're probably screwed. And why? Because they don't have freedoms, they don't have liberty, they don't have safety, they don't have security. My wife had to have a security team with her when we went to Trinidad. It was just a rough environment. White lady with 5 kids in Trinidad. It was like a kidnapping, utopia there. And so I realized that the people who are in our military are the reason why we can have this country. And some of you guys might have immigrated here, but we can't have a free market without a free country. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't create a business without the safety. I mean, if I had to worry about someone bombing my building, it'd be a little bit hard right now. So what we did with Thrive is every time that you subscribe, we give a subscription to a member of the United States military who's a reserve or veteran. There's a lot of homeless veterans out there. There's a lot of veterans who are struggling financially. A lot of active duty military, and so they can get a free subscription. The second is every time you share it with somebody, you get a point. So like if you log on and you share it with this guy, then you get a point. And whoever gets the most points, we give you a $30,000 cash prize. And so you're only going to send it. Because, in school, I always was like, why does this class even matter? And my teacher's like, well, because papyrus is important to me. And so, but for Thrive, I don't think you should do anything unless it pays you. That's just my business. That's my belief on entrepreneurship. I don't want to do anything unless it offers a customer value and unless it pays me. Otherwise, I would rather go play basketball. Okay, so, and then the third thing is that you get points based on testing. So if you pass tests, you get points for testing. And then the final thing is you get points for consistency. Sean Copeland, little tip for you. Sean Copeland, the guy who owns Regent Bank, Dr. Zellner, Clifton Talbert, David Robinson, they all get up before 6 in the morning. What? Before 6 in the morning? What? Before 6 in the morning? Yes, before 6. Every entrepreneur we've interviewed all gets up before 6 in the morning, and they all devote at least 15 to 30 minutes a day to ongoing education. And almost nobody else I meet does this. So we wanted to incentivize the idea of ongoing education, because I read every single day because I can always get better. You know what I'm saying? So the whole idea is that we want to make sure that there's that sharing, testing, consistency, and then the idea is that if you pass those tests, you get points too. Make sense?
Other questions? Could you talk, I'm going to ask a selfish question because I'm an artistic entrepreneur. Yeah. And I know there's at least one more. Do you also have like artists, musicians, creative people who can't separate themselves from the business or the organization that they're marketing?
Do you want real talk?
Yes.
Okay. One of my good friends is a photographer. I have a very good friend who's an artist. And like, you don't get to go to heaven faster because you're a starving artist. And you don't get extra crowns in heaven. But your art is important. And you don't want to like prostitute your art for a profit, but you also want to care about it. And there's a lot of artists that find that like, man, as a photographer, I need to pay rent, right? I have kids, I need to pay my rent, health insurance, that kind of thing. But I also want to have that artistic joy that comes with making great art. And a lot of artists choose to either be a starving artist or to be like a commercial artist, like Andy Warhol or that over here. And on Thrive, we do have specific trainings for artists there and specific things. But the main thing I would tell you is that whatever business you're in, you want to figure out how many customers you need to provide service for per month to make the amount of money you need to make. And then figure if that's realistic. And then if not, I would stop doing that kind of art until it is realistic. If that makes sense. Awesome.
How many subscriptions do you need to be profitable? And what do you anticipate the length of a subscription? So if someone comes and says, hey, I'm going to get what I need for the first couple of months and then cancel, just kind of what volume do you need in order to repay these investors and incentivize your mentors?
Well, with the investors, we're all sort of in it for a little bit of a utopic thing, so I don't need to repay anybody. It's more of like, Sean Copeland is a great guy, so I'll reference him. People ask him every day if he can help them grow their business, and Dr. Zellner gets the same thing too, and David Robinson does too. And we all feel sort of guilty that we're not available, but we're not available because we're with our own kids or with our own businesses. And so we don't need to pay anybody back, so that would be one. And then, so if we have 16 people that are helped, which is one more than I can currently help, then from a personal, artistic perspective, I feel fulfilled. From a financial perspective, if we don't have any subscribers, we don't have to pay anybody back, so we're fine there, and all of us have taken our money and put it into it because it's something we believe in. But then the third thing is, we think that in America today, 13% of our population is self-employed. 13% is self-employed. And so we believe that if we can provide something of value, that 1/10 of those 13% are down with, we would be excited. So our break-even point isn't really I would say 5,000 subscribers, we would be to a point of where I would say, okay, that's palatable. But lynda.com, who here subscribes to lynda.com? Anybody know about Lynda? Lynda has 3.2 million subscribers, and they teach photography, and videography. And so I think that it's likely if there's 3.2 million people studying to learn photography, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people wanting to learn entrepreneurship. But I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question. I build companies in Zimbabwe, so failure is a very real thing. We have some entrepreneurs here today from Nepal, Bangladesh. Talk to us about, and in Tulsa, failure is this very negative thing. Like, if your company fails, you don't talk about it. You sweep it under the rug, and then you pretend like you're doing something else. Can you talk about sort of your relationship with failure in your business, and then also every day?
Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
The Wu-Tang Clan concert.
It's facing this way. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. You like the Wu-Tang reference? Okay. Put your hands in the air. All right. Here's the thing. Just last night, who here has been sued before? Anybody been sued? Oh, come on. You guys are full. Come on. All right. Well, every single one of the entrepreneurs on Thrive is actively being sued. So if you're not being sued, I'm just telling you, you probably need to go bigger. But I found out last night I'm being sued from an employee who apparently thought, when you work for my companies, you can't have sex with our customers. That's just sort of a weird policy we put in. And you can't do drugs while on the job. So we fired that person, right? And so you get a lawsuit. That's just a weird policy. Maybe that your company doesn't have that policy, but we have that policy. And so we fired. I'm mentioning this because no one else talks about this, but this is real life. This is real stuff. And so then you get into a lawsuit, and then all of a sudden you go back and forth. And emotionally, a lot of people get rocked, right? If you get sued, you're like, oh, what happened to me? What happened? Yeah. Like, I don't care, but I used to care a lot. I used to stay up at night, to answer your question, I'd stay up at night worrying about that, and I would get all emotional about it. Now today, I don't really care as much, but that would be, to me, sort of a failure. For me as an entrepreneur, when you hire an employee, your goal is to help that person thrive as a person. Like, if you hire somebody, you want that person to be successful. I don't know if I'm weird, but if you hire somebody, the goal is you want to help that person be successful in that job, and you care about that person. And when that person does something weird on your watch, you feel a sense of ownership about that. And so when you hear about the DUI that happened during the working hours while they're clocked in, that's a little bit concerning for you. And so that's, to me, the sort of failure I experience now more than anything is when you try to help an employee, it doesn't work. But other examples would be I had a landscaping company, and I found out that as a general rule, Caucasians don't want to mow lawns, or African Americans, or anyone who is of a legal citizenship does not want to mow lawns. And so we had a lot of people that mowed lawns for us that didn't want to mow lawns, and so the turnover was so high, it became hard to compete. And when I went to my competitors, I found out that all of their top employees were not legals, and so it became a deal. So I sold all my equipment to Jason Bailey after breaking even for about 1/10 of the cost I spent on buying everything. So I broke even, and then he got like a bandit on my equipment. So that's an example.
Okay, so a follow-on to that then, as a new entrepreneur, new company, at what point do you cut your losses and move on and say failure's okay at this point?
What you're going to do, and there's a 4-step process that Reid Hoffman lays out, and he's smarter than I am. He's the guy who started LinkedIn. But he says, 1, you want to define what your goal is. So you define your goal. Step 2 is that you act. So it's like ready, fire. You don't aim. Just ready, fire. Boom. Right? So you act. Boom. Then step 3 is you actually measure it. So you're going to fail. Like, you're going to fail. Tesla, you know the guy who started Tesla, Elon Musk, he started SpaceX. They sent 3 shuttles into space that all blew up before going into orbit. Henry Ford lost all of his money. Henry Ford lost all of his money. Henry Ford lost all his money 5 times. The guy who started Ford 5 times. Walt Disney went into bankruptcy twice and once resorted to eating dog food so he could buy groceries for his kids. Dog food. So these are things that real entrepreneurs do. We don't talk about it a lot, but you're going to feel. So one is you define it. The second is you act. The third is that you're going to measure it, right? And the fourth is you're going to refine it. But if you do not act because you want to get it perfect, which is totally different from formal education. Education, you memorize, and you don't take the test, right? Until you know you can get an A. But in entrepreneurship, you study, and then you go ahead and get a D+, and then you refine it, and you get better and better and better. And that's how you do it. If you wait around for it to be perfect, you'll never launch. Does that make sense? You guys feel me? Like a petting zoo?
Yeah, so it sounds like you don't think there's a cheat sheet to become a successful entrepreneur.
Not a cheat sheet?
Right.
Could you refine that question maybe? Because
well, you're saying that you have to be doing these things, you have to be experiencing them for yourself, you have to be building these relationships on your own, you have to be experiencing these failures. So I'm just curious if you think your website is going to be able to compare to those real life experiences versus sitting at my house and looking at them online.
Yeah, I think it will. I think the thing is, like when I talked to Dr. Zellner, I remember the first time I talked to Arthur Greeno, and I said, Arthur Greeno, he owns Chick-fil-A. Anybody know Arthur Greeno? Awesome guy. And I said, Arthur, I'm getting sued. And Arthur said, you're getting sued? And I said, yeah. And he's like, I'm getting sued twice right now. And I've been sued probably 40 times since I've opened. What are you getting sued for? And I said, well, a guy cut his toe off. And he said, a guy cut his toe off. I said, I hired a contractor, he cut his toe off, and he's suing me. He doesn't have workman's comp, so he decided to sue me as though I'm like his boss of some kind. And Arthur's like, that's cool, I've got a sexual harassment, I've got a wrongful termination going on right now, I've got a discrimination suit. And so when you learn that, when I walk, I'm around Arthur and I get a chance to watch it on the video and hear him, I don't feel like I'm a failure because I had that. And then Arthur explains, but for future reference, so that you don't get yourself in a situation where you might actually lose the lawsuit, here's the system that I've created that I now use. In fact, here's my checklist. And he just shows the whole thing. Here's my hiring checklist. And so now I use that system, and now I have less issues. Does that make sense? So like I'm learning that. Or when I presented my first business plan, it made no sense at all. And now on Thrive, we teach you how to specifically make a business plan so you won't get embarrassed in your first, 17 presentations that you do, that kind of thing. So it's designed, all of us can learn from mentors or mistakes, and Thrive is designed to help you learn from mentors. Yeah.
Okay, so we're on your left here. And
sure.
So there's a couple of resources online that do something very similar to this, like Mixergy and such. How are you differentiating yourself by these other resources that, in some cases, they're coming in at cheaper, $20 a month?
I don't necessarily, one, as far as price, I don't necessarily focus on price. Like this place, I'm a man-bear pig, so I really, if I wasn't married, I'd probably just auto ship the cheapest coffee possible from Folgers. But like I think the coffee here is like $6, or who here paid $5 for a coffee, $6? I don't know what it is. But you're paying for the ambiance, the aura. I don't know what we're paying for exactly, but I'm sure you thought it was worth it when you bought it. So the whole idea is that one, price, I don't really consider price. I know what my costs need to be to bring on world-class people, and so I don't really think about that. Second, gamification, the idea you can get points instead of grades, I think is big because entrepreneurs are competitive, and I know that I would have done whatever I needed to do to win $30,000 or $50,000 and some of the things we give away. And then the third is that it's entertaining. So as you watch it, like it's really funny. So it's kind of like watching The Office, but you're also watching business training. And I know a lot of times in my classes I fell asleep, and then some of my classes I was awake because my professor was so awesome. I had a couple of professors that were awesome, but like most of them were not. On Thrive, everybody who's teaching is very high, they're passionate and they know what they're talking about, so it's very engaging. So I guess engagement, gamification, and then the whole point system, I think, or the whole idea that you're getting world-class training, I think is unique there.
We have one more question.
It looks like, based on what you said on your website, that you're really marketing towards the Caucasian American population. And I was wondering, since 2 out of 5 of every businesses in Oklahoma are owned by immigrants, are you not marketing towards them? It sounds like, based on something you said, it could have been pretty offensive to that population. That's not really your market, but are you considering expanding into that market in the future, or?
Okay. Clarification. One, my comment I made about Caucasians, if I'm not offending you at least once per hour, I don't think I'm helping you. So that's real talk for you. Two is I made a comment about how you can't find Caucasians to mow lawns. And I think if you start a landscaping business, you'll discover this to be true. And it's not so much it's a bias, it's a fact. So if you want to start a landscaping business and then go through it, you'll discover that fact. Three, my partner in the company is definitely black. David Robinson, you guys might not be aware, but he is definitely not Caucasian. And Clifton Talbert is definitely not Caucasian. And a lot of people there are not Caucasian. So that would be the answer to that.
Okay, and last question, how can we, the community, help you make Thrive15 succeed?
I would just log on and find issues with it. You know, like stuff where you log on and you make an account and you're like, this stinks, this isn't good, I don't understand this doesn't make sense, and then we'll send you $2 every time you do it. Because I want to make it the best experience for you possible, and the only way to do that is to find out what you don't like or what you're not learning. And so, I mean, we had really, really rich feedback today from a guy who, like I said, owns a business and has really struggled with this lady this morning, Keely, who's looking for to start a business, and she went and proposed to a bank and she doesn't know how to do that properly. So you can just send us your complaints, your issues, your concerns, and then we will get to it and fix those for you. We just want to make it a place where, as an entrepreneur, you can take 15 minutes of your time. It's kind of like a mentor in your pocket. So if you find yourself getting sued, and if you own a business, you will, then what you'll do is you'll go, oh man, I can log on to Thrive and type in getting sued, and there you go. You can learn specifically how to handle that. Cool.
All right, well, let's give a hand for Clay Clark and Thrive15. All right. Thank you all. Thank you all once again for being here. We're here every Wednesday. Hey, Clay, is it okay if I keep this? Oh, yeah. We're here every Wednesday from 9 until 10. We usually have 2 startups, just like you saw today. Next week, there'll be completely different startups. And we're really glad that you're here engaging with the entrepreneurial community and really helping to make Tulsa better. If you want to know on Monday who's going to present, all you have to do is send an email to Tulsa. I assume you know how to spell that. Tulsa at @1millioncups.com. And we send out a newsletter every Monday to let you know what the announcements are and who's going to present. If you want to share about 1 Million Cups, we have these cards in the back that have all the pertinent information about our weekly meetings on it. And we will see you next week. Thanks again for coming.